has gone sort of wild with thinking up ideas when I'm coming out of this. I'm thinking, oh, like, will I do this more? Will I do that less? To be honest with you, I'd just take anything where we can literally just go back to some part of normality.
Wow.
People are out again, obviously. Did you have any plans like that have sort of been suspended as such or sort of cancelled before all this happened in terms of your wrestling stuff? Were you going to any shows, or did you have any like plans to do anything in the year? Because we were going to do, the Liverpool, For
the Love of Wrestling.
That's right. We were going to head up there and we're going to do the whole TNT thing press. Obviously that's been blown up. But other than that, I think that was pretty much it. But was there anything that you had in the pipeline?
Well, yeah, much the same really. I had a weekend pass for the Love of Wrestling up in Liverpool, and that's all been blown out of the water. I don't think I'll go to the rescheduled date. If it even goes ahead, I think they've rescheduled it for October, so I've already asked my money back on that one. But so I don't know whether that will actually go ahead. Otherwise, no, not really. Like I say, just your podcast schedule and your calendar changes because I was going to do a podcast to cover Takeover Dublin, which would have happened in a week or so's time, and of course that's going out the window. But no, I mean personally, we've got a holiday planned for July. Hopefully that will still go ahead. No, but I do know of a few people that were booked to go to WrestleMania and spend the week out there in Tampa and do all the stuff and go all the shows. And kind of you look at people's Facebook feeds, and a lot of people are struggling to get refunds and all their money back. So I do feel for them.
Are they struggling refunds with the tickets or just the whole flights? And
I think it depends how they bought their tickets. I mean, I think if you go for a reputable company with the events, whether it be with the Raymond James Stadium or the Takeover or Hall of Fame, I think if you go for a reputable company, then fine. But if you get your ticket via a second hand, kind of like a StubHub or something like that, that's probably proving a bit more difficult. The flights and the hotels, hopefully, there shouldn't be too many issues because you're kind of guaranteed if you pay through a credit card and things like that. But I think these refunds are coming, but they're very slow in coming. A lot of people are quite nervous about whether because I know how much I spent when I went to Mania a couple of years ago. So God knows, how much money people are waiting to come back into their bank accounts.
Yes, very substantial, I would imagine. The amount of money there. And is it? I'm sort of looking around now. Maybe you can help me. But WrestleMania 37 is there? That's got a location. Yeah, that's going to be California. Is that right?
So it's taking place in the brand new American football stadium. So the SoFi Stadium in Hollywood, California. But I mean, there's been various reports going around that
they might not have completed it. Is that right?
Until you can find some sort of inoculation or cure to the virus, that they might not be opening these big events to people for maybe 12 to 18 months. So who knows? We could see a second WrestleMania in 12 months' time behind closed doors.
And obviously just to come to an ending of this without being too depressed at the moment, I tell you. But in terms of WWE, they have taken the stance. They're still going on. I was quite surprised by all this. Then there was reports come out that one of their employees had contracted the virus, and that changed things again. Where do you stand with this whole thing? Because I just thought, look, you've done WrestleMania now. You had the taping for Raw. Maybe just take some time away. Just put network exclusive stuff up on Raw and SmackDown and whatever else. They've got enough of it, and just have people talking through it, or do like a sit down interview. Make it different. I don't know. But what do you make as a fan and sort of podcaster of them? Sort of still, they seem hell bent about doing more. But I've got to say, surely it's only going to be a matter of time where this is just not going to be practical.
Well, my understanding is that Vince wants to continue doing live or as close to live shows every single week, whether it be for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Now, whereas you look at you look at Impact and you look at AEW, they've recorded weeks, if not months, worth of stuff that's in the can, so that they can just send their talent home. But WWE still want to go live, and I understand it's because of maybe the television contracts they've got with USA and with the Fox network, and that Vince is potentially worried about breaching those contracts by not going live every week. But you would have thought that it would have been in everybody's interest just to record 2 or 3 months worth of stuff, even if it's a couple of matches per episode, mixing that with some archive stuff, like you said, some classic matches, some kind of promo, some storyline stuff, behind the scenes promos, or even some stuff shot from via their cell phone. I see cell phone promos used a bit more over the last couple of years, but anything really just to get some content out there and not worry so much about doing the live stuff every week, because the more you do of that type of live stuff, the more chance there is of other people becoming ill through this. And like you say, I read the same report that somebody within the offices has become ill. I think you'll probably get more and more of the WWE talent not wanting to be a part of these shows anyway, because of the risk, not only to them but to their family members as well, and the rest of their colleagues. So I think it's kind of dangerous territory that the WWE and Vince are taking, and I think they just need to record a couple of months worth of stuff, edit it, put it out, mix it with some archive stuff, and be done with it. And maybe when things are better, get wrestlers back out to record more. But I think they're being rather stubborn away there, looking after their talent and kind of putting this stuff out at the moment. There are alternatives, and I like the way that AEW are looking after the situation and others, and recording stuff, putting it in the can, editing it, putting it out, and then letting their wrestlers kind of relax in the confines of their own home with their family, knowing that they're relatively safe.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you just said there. And my thinking was, look, is Vince just, really pissed off the fact that AEW have got all this stuff in the can? From my understanding, obviously Tony Khan's dad, if you don't know, he owns the Jaguars, so they've got that stadium. And unlike WWE, they don't own a gigantic stadium like that. So they were able to that's their own facility. They own that. They're able to knock it all out. And I think Cody said they'd done about at least over 40 plus matches by that point that was in the can. So that's more than enough to get them by for a while. And sort of go forward. And you wonder if Vince now knows that, if he's like, oh, we should have done the same. Now we've got... But you think with WWE, all these people flying in from God knows where, I mean, I just don't see how it works. And I know that last week, the big news, certainly from the MMA world, was Dana White trying to get that his own private island.
Oh, to have that guy's crazy. He really is crazy.
Fight Island. It was going to be like Enter the Dragon, I think. You go to this unknown place. Nobody knows where it was. Even Joe Rogan on his podcast was like, yeah, they told me I can go, but they're not going to tell me where it is until last minute on my phone, because it's that much of a secret. And I kind of thought to myself, blimey, it ain't going to be long till Vince starts calling Dana White and says, where's this island? I need my wrestlers over there. So, and I could just imagine Vince building a whole facility of hotels just to have his wrestlers stay in, like a wrestling village or something.
Vince would love that. He'd definitely go for that idea.
And just but obviously they got that now cancelled. That ain't happening. So I'm thinking okay, that's not happening. They close that down. It can only be a matter of time until WWE are going to get the same call. Now, obviously, people do always keep saying, well, he's got a relationship with Donald Trump, but I don't even think that is going to be able to manage this towards the end. And as well as that, if it is just down to money, I kind of feel maybe it's taking it a bit too far for the performers and their families and everyone else involved, because obviously all the other sports have stopped. NBA, I was reading an article how much money they'd lost. I mean, it was crazy because of the TV deal. So I can see why Vince would be slightly panicked. But another thought that I just had, John, and to be honest with you, I'm not an expert on the whole coronavirus thing by any means. But my other thinking was, what about this Saudi Arabia stuff? When is that going to come about again? And are they going to suddenly magic having a show there as well? I mean, what do you know? Have you heard anything about Saudi Arabia, how they're dealing with this and what what exactly is happening, because I could imagine Vince saying, well, we'll go there.
I mean, there were kind of very vague rumours before WrestleMania that potentially they would hold WrestleMania over in Saudi Arabia, but then there were kind of rumours and rumblings coming out saying, well, they're going through it as well. They're in self-isolation. They're in lockdown as well. So, but who knows? I mean, they usually have 2 Saudi shows a year. One around about now, this time of year, usually after WrestleMania, and then one around about October. So between Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series, I think. But whether they're going to go ahead, I doubt it, to be honest with you. You know, I don't think there's many, many flights available to get them over. And if Saudi Arabia are going through the same thing, the talent would probably have to go into quarantine for a week or 2 when they first get there before they could even step foot inside a gym or an arena or a stadium or anything like that. So I think that's completely out of the question, to be honest with you. I do know that Vince is very, very keen to kind of get spectators, to get fans back in arenas as soon as possible. But when you look at all the reports, it's not, I don't know, as much as I want it to say get back to normal by SummerSlam or Survivor Series, or at the very, very least by WrestleMania 37, you don't know. Nobody has the answers as to when things are going to get back to normal. And I mean, one kind of thing, looking a little bit more close to home, John, is, you know, a lot of you've got so many excellent indie promotions around the UK. You know, how is it going to affect them? Are they going to be able to recover and get back to normal? You know, how many indie promotions potentially could this you know, knock on their head essentially? And you know, will it be just the bigger indie promotions that might survive this? Or will it be that when we all get the all clear and, you know, people can start going into venues and arenas to see wrestling, do you think that the wrestling fans are going to be so hungry for some action that everybody's going to go to any show possible? I mean, it could go one way or another, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, I spoke about that actually with Taylor Essex, who obviously runs Triumph Wrestling with Jack Torino and Sam Dufresne, and obviously they're a much smaller outfit, and I think with them they're okay because they haven't they weren't dependent as much with what was going to go on in the future. But there definitely is a fear, I think, for a lot of other promotions. I mean, that's definitely a great question for you when you speak to the DNA guys.
Absolutely.
Because, those guys, I've got to say, and I'm not just saying this because they're coming on your show, I'm not trying to blow smoke, but whenever I go there, and you'll hear it on my interviews, the interviews I've done with the talent, they love working for DNA. Because by all accounts, it's the best taken care of facilities, and they lay good food and all stuff like this. So so it's a really good promotion and that they have there. So you've got 2 good promoters coming on. Good,
can't wait, and I'll send on your kind words as well.
Thank you. Anyway, then, my friend, I will let you go on this moment. Just let us know where we can find you, so all my listeners can find you.
Yeah, definitely. So you can catch us on Twitter. Just simply go to twitter.com/withjohners_pod. That's @withjohners_pod. Or on Instagram, just go to @wrestlingwithjohners. And of course, Facebook, we've got our ever popular Facebook community page there. Just search Wrestling with Johners, and that's Johners spelled JOHNERS. You can find the podcast on all popular podcast platforms. Spotify, Apple, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. We've got an active YouTube channel there where we drop multiple videos every single week. So thank you, John, for having me on your podcast again. It's been a real pleasure. Great to talk about everything wrestling, the aftermath of WrestleMania and everything in between. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you again.
Yeah, the pleasure's been all mine, my friend. Go and check over at the John's podcast. Really, really good. Thank you again, John, and hope to see you when all this is done with. But like I say, let's have you back on for the In Your House. That'll be great.
Definitely.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.